Hey guys, this is Lisa from NYC Gal Out. Welcome back to my channel, NYC Gal Pod. Let's talk about Real Housewives of Orange County Season 19 Reunion Part 1. It was a disappointment, I have to say. So let's start off with the Katie of it all. Going into this reunion, she had to have felt major anxiety, knowing that she only filmed for the first half of the season and basically was iced out by her castmate. And even potentially production, we'll get into that a little bit. I just wish that she would have been more aggressive. I wish she wouldn't have went into this reunion again apologizing. I do know that in a couple of the interviews that she has been on, she stated that, she was told by producers to basically make nice with everybody. Katie's biggest mistake was hitching herself to Jen. What she should have done was hitch herself to the veteran, which is Tamra. Listen, Tamra, people love to hate her, but listen, Tamra is the one that has been on the longest in OC. She's also the one that has made herself productive outside of the Bravo network. And she learned that. And the one thing that I will definitely give credit to Tamra Judge is that she doesn't go around saying, I was put on pause, or, when I decided to quit or when I decided to move on. She legit said, I was fired. I was devastated. I was basically in a depression. I didn't know what the fuck to do. The first thing we did was downsize our house because all of a sudden I didn't have my Bravo paycheck anymore. But her podcast, even if you don't listen to it, her podcast is consistently ranked as like one of the top, if not the top, Bravo podcasts. I would say that she's at the same status as Radio Andy even. So she has something that, a lot of these other ladies, they're not able to replicate because once the paycheck from Bravo ends, they end up in really bad financial situations. I mean, they end up on OnlyFans, but whatever. If it pays the bill, it pays the bills. Who cares? That's who Katie should have hitched her wagon to. And she didn't. And I felt like, okay, well, maybe Katie went into this wanting to form a real friendship. Listen, you have work friends, but then you have real friends. And we all have people at work that we jive with, that we're close to at work. We might sit with them during lunch, or we might go out to lunch together during work. We might take our lunch break together, but they're not like your friend. And I think Katie should have approached her relationship with the fact that these were her co-workers, not genuine friends. But I gotta say though, I felt like it wasn't only the ladies that were sabotaging her. I felt like production sabotaged her too. I felt like the producers sabotaged her. I don't know what kind of relationships she had with her field producers, but I feel like the field producers and the executive producers are not in sync with each other. Season 20 is a milestone season, so I don't know who will be returning. But I did see that they had a viewing party, Katie, Tamra, Joe De La Rosa, as well as Alexis Bellino. The four of them were at a viewing party that Katie and Tamra hosted. You know what? Vicky, she's the OG of the OC. For the 20th season, I feel like Vicky would come back. I would be so shocked if Vicky didn't make like even a guest appearance for the milestone season. For season 19, they went right into production. As soon as season 18 wrapped, they started filming right at the beginning of 2025. They started filming right after the Super Bowl, and then they dropped the season within the same year. And maybe some of it had to do with the whole Katie situation, but I feel like we're not going to get a repeat of season 19 where the filming and the airing was all within the same year. I think for the milestone season, there's going to be a couple of cast changes and they're going to take their time. They will start filming next year, but they're probably not going to be filming until it's the middle of the year, I feel like. You have to remember, we still do not have Rhone or New Jersey. And that's why a lot of these shows are being pushed out a lot earlier. But Rhode Island is supposed to come out. So I also feel like for 2026, we're going to get Rhode Island. So look, Katie is learning a little bit late in the game that she needed to switch up alliances. But what I will say for Tamra is that she makes a great villain because she doesn't give a shit if you hate her or not. You could hate her all you want on your television screen. It does not affect her. This is very much a job to her. But what I will give credit to Tamra is that she does treat this very much like a job. Is transactional for her, because knowing that Katie is not filming, knowing that this will generate buzz, And knowing the fact that, you know what, she just genuinely does not like Gretchen. She probably doesn't want to see Gretchen's face for next season. And so that is a boss move to be like, you know what? I'm going to film with Katie. The bestie that she had won't even acknowledge her, but I'm going to give her a lifeline. Now, do I think Tamra is doing it intentionally? I do. But like I said, that's why she makes a great housewife, because whether intentional or not, she is still being presented in a better light than any of those ladies on that cast. She's the only one that reached out to Katie. And in this first part, she was the only one that defended Katie. Gina gives her half-ass apology, which is really like one of those apologies when you're not apologizing, but you're saying like, oh, I'm sorry you felt that way. See, when people apologize like that, that's not a genuine apology. I apologize if it triggered a trauma for you. Like, what the fuck was that? That's not an apology. Shannon, she says something like, you know, her overreaction was like, whatever the fuck and blah, 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 blah. Tamra throws out the fact that, well, you recorded Vicky in her house and she didn't know about that, especially since it does not sound like Shannon recording Vicky in her own home was part of filming. I mean, Vicky hasn't been on for a while, so this woman was just legit recording her in the privacy of her own home. Tamra has information that she sits on. Well, fuck, man, I would sit on shit like that too. I would pull that shit out when I need to use it. And look, I'm not mad about it because she was the only one that was defending Katie, and she pulled that out to defend Katie with it. Let's not be a hypocrite about it. I need Andy Cohen to be replaced with Jeff Lewis. But I will say one thing about Andy Cohen was when they started talking about Gretchen, and he was just like, a girl, I thought you had that fake-ass proposal on the rooftop for your last season because you wanted Bravo to pay for your wedding. I am so glad they didn't cut it out, and I'm just so glad he said it. Andy Cohen does not seem like he likes Gretchen. I don't know how he feels about Gretchen, but he definitely does not like Slade. Just whenever I think of those two, I always think of that awkward reunion where Andy Cohen is like, well, Joe didn't come back. Why would you come back? That was probably the highlight of the reunion, of this part 1 reunion, when Andy Cohen is like, girl, I just thought you wanted us to pay for your damn wedding. And that's why you proposed on TV. Like, what? Anyway, she says why she hasn't been married yet. And legit, everybody already knows why she hasn't been married yet. She doesn't want to be attached to his liens. He owes child support, which means that there are liens against him, which means that he cannot open up a bank account because then the state of California would put a lien on his bank account and she cannot be married to him. Because once you're married, you take on your spouse's debts. Back child support does not end just because the child aged out. His surviving son is a grown-ass adult, but that back payment does not disappear just because the child ages out or whatever reason. It no longer accumulates, but it doesn't erase your back payments that are owed. And another thing that I want to bring up, and why Tamra Judge, she is top tier housewife material, because again, she's a villain. She's like, I don't give a fuck. You want me to be a villain this season? Sure, fine, whatever. When Andy Cohen asks Gretchen about like, did you really say that it's Tamra's fault why Slade can't get a job? One thing about Tamra, that girl is quick, because Tamra's like, that's why he couldn't get a job, but him being arrested, that doesn't have anything to do with it. He was arrested for contempt of court. The contempt of court charge is basically because he wasn't paying his child support. So the fact that Gretchen is sitting there like, no. Girl, you mean to tell me that if somebody's Googling this man's name, Tamra Judge calling him a deadbeat is going to outweigh his mugshots? This is given Andy Cohen and Slade Smiley with the whole, why would you come back, Joe, was no longer on. Because it was like, girl, you really didn't think it through. If you really want to be done with all of this, you couldn't just pay the money and just be like, we're done. We're done. That's it. I would do that. And see, that's why to me, Slade, you're a deadbeat. Because your child support is not even accumulating anymore. You just need to pay that back support. Why don't you just be done with it? That way you could then go on, listen, I paid it. I'm not a deadbeat. I paid it. But dude, the fact that you will not even pay off that amount, and in the grand scheme of things with like how your lifestyle is supposed to be presented, you're just not paying anything. And it's like, girl, whatever, man. I mean, you love the man and you're with him, but whatever. You know, that's your life, right? You know what? I'm still going to give kudos to Tamra because she's the only one who's giving Katie the time of day. She's the only one who's not icing her out. And if I was to even make that argument further, she's the only one who's throwing this girl a lifeline for her to even come back for season 20. Emily, I'm not even going to spend time with Emily because she could go. Her and her 500-pound hair could go. I already told you guys when I was doing the reunion looks, I was like, Emily, she's got so much hair going on, and it's because she has very broad shoulders. That's why there was all that hair going on. It was to cover the shoulder blades. But Emily, your shoulder blades was the only thing that was interesting about you. The way all these women minus Tamra looked at Katie with such, I don't even know what the fuck, is like, she made them feel uncomfortable. Her presence made them feel uncomfortable. Girl, this is like the winter of your discontent, right? You are not the first, and you are not the only housewife that will ever be on an island of your own. We have seen it throughout the franchises, okay? Teresa Giudice, Lisa Barlow's currently going through it, Tamra Judge, even your pal Jennifer at one time, she was on the outs, and she was the lone man out. So all of them have been through it. You should have stood up for yourself. And again, you know, maybe a lot of it has to do with like her upbringing. Look, she was adopted by white parents and she grew up in the white South. I can't imagine what the building blocks of her childhood was like. I'm sure she very much had to fit the role of the stereotypical model minority when it comes to Asian, especially Asian women. You know, they have this stereotype of being docile, submissive, whatever. Not me. I will get in your face. I would definitely make your local news with being arrested for something. I wish that Katie would have been more strategic and treated this more as a work environment versus, oh my goodness, I could be friends with these women in real life. And she probably should have went under the mentorship of Tamra Judge, not freaking weird ass Jennifer. I need somebody who knows Jen to really check up on this girl. I feel like this girl needs to see a neurologist. Let me tell you, early onset dementia is a thing, okay? That is a medical thing. That's not me being like, oh yeah, TikTok, hey, new trend, everybody's a narcissist, whatever the fuck. No, early onset dementia is a medical thing. And at her age, she's in her 40s, that is the time that you see early onset dementia. Because the way this woman forgets everything. And then Katie was like, so did you say or not? They're talking about whether or not she called her a con artist. And Katie's like, well, did you say it or not? And she's like, well, you keep asking me about that and I can't say if I said it or not. Like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm starting to think maybe she's as broke as she is because she legit has like early onset dementia. And, you know, she thought, hey, I got money in the bank. Not realizing like, no, girl, you got no money in the bank. And she's like, you know, renting out houses that she can't afford, which by the way, how easily was Gina able to move on from last season when she's like, you cost me $50,000 cash. That's food that you took from my kid's mouth. Like, girl, she cost you $50,000. I'm saying you were cool beans with her, but like Katie is like, oh my God. And then Shannon, you legit got sued by Alexis and her husband. But she's worse than Alexis. Okay, whatever. And Emily with her whole, I wish you wouldn't run to content creators and bloggers and whatever to, you know, fight your battles. Like, girl, what the fuck were you doing? I know you guys have all been seeing, you know, like that Bravo content creator who came out dropping receipts, DMs between her and Emily. You already know about it, especially if you're a fan of OC. But it's just like, what the fuck, man? I can't with you. I am going to say that maybe Katie comes back. I think Katie comes back because she gets a lot of fan love. I don't think how everything went down looked good for the network and especially not for the production team. So I think that they would bring her back for a third season, if for nothing else than just for optics, right? I think Tamara's coming back. She's coming back. It's the 20th season. No way are they letting her go for the 20th season. Not happening. Heather Dubrow, she's coming back. Gretchen will not be coming back. They are sick of her and Slade. Okay, Slade wants to be a housewife. Like, legit, this man wants to be holding an orange. Like, Slade, no. Go find a tiara to put on your head and go somewhere else. Shannon, you know what? I don't think she's coming back. I'm going to tell you why. Shannon, she was on Love Hotel, Love whatever. The host came out and said, yeah, she's like a fucking ultimate Karen. I feel like that stuff coming out, she really had nothing going on this season. She had no storyline, no nothing. There was nothing going on with her. I don't see her coming back for the 20th season. She probably get demoted as a friend up if they do. I am predicting that Tamra comes back. Heather Dubrow, she comes back. Katie, if she comes back, it's going to be because of the optics, because this shit was just bonkers. It legit was bonkers. She would come back if for nothing more than the fact that Bravo wants to maintain the status quo and for optics reasons. I don't think that both Gina and Emily are going to be gone, but I also don't think that both Gina and Emily are staying. It's going to be one or the other. I feel like between the two, between Gina and Emily, they'll probably lean more towards Gina. I feel like Jen would come back, especially if Katie comes back, because there's going to be this really awkward interaction between these two. You used to be my best friend. You threw me under the bus. Now I'm linking up with your enemy, and she's my new bestie. If Katie comes back, I definitely see Jen coming back. And as a matter of fact, if Jen comes back, I definitely see Katie come back, if not for anything more than just that awkward dynamic. Yeah, and that's it. That was part one. What did you guys think?